The last paycheck that I received from a traditional employer where I was their employee was in February of 2011. That means that if you're watching this video in 2023, I have actually been in business for my bookkeeping and accounting practice for over 12 years. That is a very long time. I've definitely made some mistakes along the way, but my business has gone through a lot of iterations because I couldn't help it. I would learn, I would implement, I would grow, and I would make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, tweak and repeat. And that's what we do. We keep moving forward. And that is going to be a very big theme for today's video. There is a theme, and today we're going to talk about those 5 most frequently asked questions that are burning in your mind. And I've got some answers, and I'm going to give you my own personal experience, my point of view. I've been in business for 12 years, but really before that, I was in corporate America, and I actually do have an accounting degree, but that's going to be something that we talk about today as well. I worked in corporate America as an accountant in various different roles for 20 years before I actually went on my own. You don't have to take that route. Getting back to today's video, it's about 5 frequently asked questions that are top of mind for many of you who are starting to think about starting your bookkeeping business or are in the process of starting your bookkeeping business and are just coming up with a lot of different questions. Welcome back to my channel, The Bookkeeping Shop. Here we talk about things that I want you to know in order for you to start, run, and grow a profitable bookkeeping business. But we'll also tackle things about mindset, a lot of how-to videos, but also just things that you need to know in order to start and run your bookkeeping business on a day-to-day basis. Question number 1 is all about, do I need a degree? Do I need a license? Do I need a certification? This is a great question. And I'm glad that a lot of you are asking that question, because there are a lot of people out there who are supposed to be experts, industry experts, that are trying to teach you how to become a bookkeeper or how to start your bookkeeping business. Then they'll say things like, you don't need any experience. And I think that's doing you a disservice, because the reality is, if you want to start a bookkeeping business where you're offering bookkeeping services and are going to do the bookkeeping for your business or for your client that runs a business, you definitely need some experience. But I think when people say to you, you can start a business, no experience necessary, they're not finishing that sentence. That sentence is all about, you don't need any degree or you don't need any experience to start with, because you can get the experience that you need in order to start your business and start offering bookkeeping services to other business owners. It's a very different concept. So don't think that you can start a business without any kind of experience or training or background. You can't simply just say one day, oh, I'm going to be a bookkeeper and I'm going to offer bookkeeping services, because that is really not a great way to start a business. You're going to run into challenges and you're going to run into obstacles where you're going to feel a lack of confidence and you're going to feel like it's not a good fit for you. So I want you to just put your best foot forward by getting some sort of training. Now, you're going to see a video flashing here in a moment, but it's going to be one of the videos that I have in my channel that's all about the best free bookkeeping software out there that you get a free training with. It's not the only one. It's the one that I recommend that you start with, because it has a very comprehensive training and it is free. It's QuickBooks Online. And again, I'm not going to go too much into that because I do have an entire video dedicated to what it is, how to sign up, and the benefits, the pros and cons, and how long it'll take. So go ahead and check that out. I'll also link that video in the description below. So do you need a license? No. Do you need certification? Not really, but it helps. Do you need a degree? No, you don't. You don't need any of those things, but you do need bookkeeping skills. You do need some sort of training that will allow you to know how to use the software, how to identify things, how to clean transactions, and all of those things you can get through a typical bookkeeping training that you can get, like I said, through that video that I'm going to link. One of my favorite free trainings is through QuickBooks Online, for QuickBooks Online software, and also QuickBooks Premier and QuickBooks Enterprise, which is mostly what we use in my practice now. Moving on to question number 2. Question number 2 is, how do you know if you're ready to start a bookkeeping business? And that has been asked throughout the years in a lot of different ways, but the bottom line is, you want to know whether you have what it takes, you have everything that you need. There's never going to be a perfect time. You're always going to feel a little nervous, like you're not ready. And that's one thing that I'm going to warn you about, is try to stay away from perfectionism. Perfectionism is not going to be on your side. You're always going to try to wait until everything is, you've taken a training, you've done all the, crossed all the T's, dotted all the I's, done all the things, but it's never going to be enough. You're never going to feel fully ready. So you need to just do yourself a favor and do as much as you can to prepare. Take some sort of certification, take some training, go through some courses but don't wait until you finish all of that in order to start it. The best way for you to gain some of that confidence that you need in order to get started is just to do that. Start. Make the decision. Come up with your name. Start telling people that you're going to be doing this. Think about what services you're going to offer. We're going to talk about that in a moment as well. But again, I want you to not wait until everything is fully prepared. I want you to really think about what it is that you want to do and just start taking actions. Like, for example, you're watching this video right now, and I'm sure you've signed up to get other free resources. I have a resource for that. 10 steps to kickstart your bookkeeping business, and you want to grab it if you haven't done so already. I will make sure to link that in the description of this video. So again, just to reiterate, if you're feeling like you're not sure if you're ready or if you have what it takes to get started, I would recommend 3 different things. 1, do some sort of training. I already told you I'm going to link to that video so that you can see what it takes to sign up. Start asking if you can do somebody's books. You can even do your own books, like run your household as a business and start to create an account in QuickBooks Online, or if you want to use something else, you can. But just kind of set up your household as a business and start to just sort of train yourself by using real case scenarios, your own data. Or you start asking around and see if there's a friend that could use your help and just say, I'm not going to charge you. I just want to kind of test my skills and see where I need to reinforce a little bit more. And as a matter of fact, I have a video that's all about practicing your bookkeeping, and I will make sure to link that video in the description as well, because it just shows you how you can start to test your skills and gain some of that confidence before you even sign your first bookkeeping client. Okay. All right. Moving on to number 3. What services should you offer? Now I'm going to go back to the beginning of this video when I said, hey, the business that you're going to have in the beginning will look very different 6 months later, 12 months later, 2 years later. So what you start with does not mean that that's where you stay. For example, your very first offer should be something very simple and basic. Again, I have a video all about that I will link below, but it's about your first bookkeeping offer, your first service offer. Keep it simple. When you start out with your bookkeeping business, you don't want to take on the most complex client that uses a totally different software than you are an expert at. You want to make sure that you have a client that is kind of nice and steady, or small to begin with, so that you can kind of use them as a test client. Even though you're going to get paid, you're going to charge them. I want to make sure that you take on the first client and offer something like downloading transactions and coding them, coding the income, coding the expenses, maybe doing a few bank reconciliations. Maybe they have a savings and a checking and maybe one credit card. So you start out with doing the daily transactions, which is mainly coding. You don't have to do it every day. I just call it daily. You don't have to do it every day, but you can download the transactions, you code them, and you review them, and then you do the bank reconciliations. That's part of the closing the month. And then maybe you do a couple of financial statements that the business owner would like to have. And I always like to say, give them a little bit of a snapshot as to how their business performed by just saying, hey, this is how much cash came in, how much cash went out, income, expenses. Just give them a few what I call financial highlight summaries, so that they feel like they're getting, somebody's watching their store, somebody's watching their business, somebody is really looking at the numbers, and you are just basically being the translator. That is a very simple first offer. Again, I'm going to link to a lengthier video that walks you through a little bit more in depth as to, what to consider, what to offer first. And you're going to learn. You're going to learn what is that first client going to ask you for, or those first few clients. What are their needs? What things did you miss? What are you not giving them that they would like, or what's a nice to have versus a must have. And of course, with everything, you're going to get paid for all of that. But for right now, you do ask me, what should you offer? Start out simple. Keep it simple, because that's going to give you confidence. The more you do it, the faster you get. You start to identify things. It just becomes second nature. Like anything else, I want you to think about something that you didn't know how to do initially, and then you just kept practicing and you got better and faster, and you learned a few tricks. I mean, that goes with anything, right? Whether it's cooking, riding a bike, going skiing, whatever. You get better with practice. And so with your first couple of clients, yeah, you're going to practice on them and you're going to learn. And that is okay. You can be very honest with them. Don't let them know, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. That's not how to pitch it. But it's like, hey, I'm always looking to see how I can improve the processes or how I can increase efficiency. I hope that helps. And again, I will link to that video in the description so that you can go and practice not only practice your bookkeeping with the previous video, but now start to create your first bookkeeping offer. Before I move on to number 4, you may notice that I have a little bit of a different backdrop today. And that is because I'm not at home and I am not in my office. I am away from home. I am on a vacation at a vacation rental that we own in Sun River, Oregon, that I actually spent 6 months up here from last October through March, kind of setting it up and getting it ready to Airbnb. I will give you a little sneak peek into that. I will link to the listing below in the description of this video, but I'll also give you a little bit of tour of the behind the scenes of the house. As long as you have an internet connection, you can run your business, because I'm still working. I'm not on vacation. I just came to check up on the property. You can run your business, you can host your team check-ins, and you can record your social media videos or trainings as whatever you need to do. As long as you have an internet connection in your laptop or even an iPad or your phone, you can still run your business. So that's just a little side. All right, back to number 4. Number 4, I bet you can guess. Where do I find my first client? Or where do I find clients? Where do I get my bookkeeping clients? All these different iterations. It basically comes down to, you're just wondering, where the heck are you going to find your first or next bookkeeping client? For me, the first thing that I did is, when I was leaving my last employer, I converted my last employer into my first paying client by proposing to them how I could go part-time. I would help them to hire and train my replacement. I also gave them a very long notice. I didn't just go in there and say, oh, I've got 2 weeks and I'm leaving. I gave them notice, but I also let them know, let's convert me from employee to part-time consultant or contractor. I will help you all stay on till training. The way that I positioned it and proposed it was really amicable, and my employer felt like I took very good care of them. I helped to hire my replacement, as well as I trained him, and then I made myself available for a few months after that. I got paid as a consultant, or if you want to call my contractor, but that first client was my last employer. Now, for other clients in the beginning, I used my network, and that's what I'm going to ask you to do as well. And your network is really not an intimidating word. It's your contact. Who did you work with before? Who have you kept in touch with from school or from associations? Do you volunteer? Do you belong to some sort of group, whether it's parenting group, or are you part of a committee that raises, awareness for something else? Who do you know becomes very relevant. I call it like the first inner circle is your friends and family. I'm not suggesting that you go work with friends and family. I don't recommend that. Keep some distance from my friends and family when it comes to business, but that's my own personal preference. You can do something else. It's whatever feels right to you. You have to tell people what you're doing. You have to tell people what you want to do, what you're starting, what you're doing, who's the best fit for you, who you're looking for. I don't want you to be shy about it, because being in business means being very vocal, even if you're an introvert. I'm a total introvert. I know that sometimes people think that I'm not, but I really am. And all that means is that you process information differently. You like to take your time. You like to think things through. You can still do that, but you can still reach out and contact your friends and family and let them know what you're doing. The next circle is people that know you, people that already know your credibility, the people who already can vouch for you, for your work ethic, for your personality, for your detail, for whatever it is. That next layer is people that you have worked with before, that you have gone to school with, that you have participated in some sort of event or group event, or again, just think about who it is that can vouch for you, that know you, and you can let them know, hey, do you know anybody who could benefit from my services? Craft an email or a message that you can send through LinkedIn, through WhatsApp, through your Slack, email. Use whatever method you believe that next layer of primary contacts will respond to, and not everybody's going to respond, but all you're letting them know is, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm looking for. If you know anybody, I'd love an introduction. You're not even looking for that next layer of primary contacts for business from them. You're asking them to keep an eye out for somebody who could use your services, but you need to be vocal. Now, I do have to say, I have a resource that's called Nurture Your Network. I'm actually going to be rebranding it soon, and it's going to be named something differently. But that resource of Nurture Your Network is a compilation of 6 emails. I walk you through how to reconnect with people that you have lost touch with, what to say, what to offer, how to make the invitation, and what not to do, as well as what steps to take. And you may want to pick it up. If you haven't picked it up already, go ahead and pick it up now. I will make sure to link it in the description of this video as well. Again, that is Nurture Your Network network until further notice when I rebrand it later this year. I hope this was helpful because now we are going to be wrapping it up into number 5. Number 5 is all about, with all of this artificial intelligence and all of these services that other software like QuickBooks has come up with, or all these other agencies that charge such little money for bookkeeping services, is there still a need for bookkeepers? Is there still a need for bookkeeping businesses? The answer is absolutely 100% yes. Here is one thing that I want you to keep in top of mind. Artificial intelligence like ChatGPT or other types of tools out there that help you to improve efficiencies and automate processes, what that does is it alleviates the workload of those grindy daily transactions type of things that can bog you down and feel like a lot of repetitive data entry, and make room for you to be able to offer higher level, higher fee services, like they're called like controller or CFO, where you start to maybe prepare some forecasting and budgeting or cash analysis. And by the way, don't get intimidated by that if you're just starting out. Just know that when you start your bookkeeping business, you're going to be offering a certain amount of minimal, bare bones, starter packages type of services. And then as you get faster and you get better and you learn more, you're going to be able to deliver or offer additional services beyond the basics. Think about your TV cable. You can have your basic cable, and then you have your premium, and then you have your deluxe, for lack of a better word. I don't know. But the bare bones gives you, just those minimal channels. The next level, you have so much more. And then the next level, you have everything under the sun in the kitchen sink. So I want you to think about that, because AI or tools, software, there's shortcuts to improve efficiency, automate processes that you're going to get bored of anyway. Keeps it really interesting for you to think about, how do you up-level your business? What other services can you offer? Because with more services and higher level services, you're able to charge more money and therefore become even more profitable of a bookkeeping business. Yes, there's still a need for bookkeepers, because every business owner out there needs bookkeeping done, whether they do it themselves or they hire somebody else to do it. Your skills, your services will still be needed. How you deliver that and what offer may look a little different. As I said at the very beginning of this video, is the business that I have today looks completely different than the business I started out with. And maybe in another video, I'll share a little bit about what those early days looked like and how I was able to break the 6-figure revenue very quickly within less than a year. And I can walk you through that as well. There's going to be a lot of resources in the description of this video down below. I don't want to repeat myself by going over all the details that I covered in the, answering your frequently asked questions, but I hope that you got a lot out of this conversation. Your journey is going to look very different than mine, but I don't want you to get stuck and have paralysis, because you just feel like you're not ready, or that you need another certification, or you need it to be perfect, or you're not sure where to get your clients. All of those questions that you have, there are answers. And there's so many of us, myself included, out here that are waiting for you. We're rooting you on. We want you to get started, but that's the thing. You have to start. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. I had a lot of fun answering your questions, and if you have any more, make sure you leave them in the comments below. I'm Veronica Sagastume, your bookkeeping business coach and strategist, and I hope that you will continue your learning, because you're going to see another video pop up here in just a moment. Until next time, bye for now.